favor. They cut it up and they split it and you got it. And if I can't, it's like already cut the turn and you lose so much moisture. If they would just leave it, where if you had a 6-foot log length, 8-foot log length, and you go out there and just cut a piece off, you'd find it, you could get years out of that sitting out there, as long as you keep it off the ground. And the moisture stays. The moisture doesn't dry out like people think it does. And then you cut a piece off and you'll cut it back. And then you take it over to bandsaw and you just cut a thin slice and you can flex it. And if its checks run back into that, it'll come apart. So you cut a little more off. But, you know, I've seen some beautiful stuff. Hey, I made this for you. And you're like, you want to pull your hair out because this real nice piece, you're going to lose it if you can't get to it. So.
Can you buy anchor seal? Can I buy anchor seal locally here? Or do I have to go up to Woodcraft?
Yeah, order it.
I ordered it. Yeah, they'll mail it to you. Woodcraft, Highland Hardware.
Yeah, you can get it as cheap right from Anchor Seals anywhere else, and they'll ship it to you. And it's sometimes I've got it shipped to me for free. So,
okay. Thank you.
I buy it in a gallon jug, which lasts me about 5 years.
You can always use old latex paint too. If you've got some stuff laying around that's not looking too good, you don't like the color. It's not the best, but it works.
Yeah,
will it stick to these pieces? Because they're so wet, you can feel them like they're a sponge dipped in water.
That's good. That's what you want.
So the paint will stick to that. That'll be fine.
yeah.
In fact, maybe it'll leach in there a little bit.
No,
No.
It won't.
no, the water kind of pushes it back out. But if you dry it off with a paper towel or a cloth and start painting it, it'll stick. Right, Raymond?
Well, if you have a piece that's been laying there and you can trim the end and put Anchor Seal on it, it works okay. I mean, it's not, but the idea is if you look at what they do where they cut wood, that Anchor Seal goes on very, very soon. They claim that the website has a lot of information on that. The wood that they save, if you're cutting wood for a business, the amount of wood that they save by using Anchor Seal makes it well worth the effort. It's a lot of money that they save. So I figure if they can do it, we can do it. It's not that expensive when you run, like John said, he had some that, the last I bought was years ago in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And, by the time you give some away, it lasts a very, very long time. But, if you get it on soon enough, usually what we get though, if you go out and the log's been down, Anchor Sealing that stuff after it's been down really is, it's almost a futile effort. It's just, you got to get it fresh if you can. If you're going out today and harvest something, I find the sooner you get it on, the better. And I've had stuff last for a long time and went on fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to know, Bob, how big's the diameter of that crabapple wood?
Well, there's part of the trunk.
All right.
It was probably 20 inches, 25 maybe.
Okay.
But it looked like it was several trunks that had grown old together and kind of in a clump.
Yeah. Now, is there more of it or did you get it all?
No, there's like 2 wheelbarrows full in my driveway that I'd like to get rid of. So anybody that wants it, just come load up your car.
Good looking, happy crowd this morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, David. Morning, Barry. Morning, Robert. Mike.
Good morning.
Ronald, Jack, Kai, Alexel, Gerald. A nice group.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hey, Bob, good morning.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
This is Woodturners, Lancaster area Woodturners coffee hour number 32, and I have already begun recording. Welcome. Let's see, this morning I have a number of things lined up, but before I tell you what all those are, I'd like to see if anybody else has got something that they're dying to present. I can tell you, I'm going to show Ron Sheehan's video. I'm going to ask Kai to tell us about his whistling ornaments. Doug's going to lead us through a little bit of what you got going on. That'll include a feature on Judy Stone's recent work. And I see Randy Smith has got his oar up in the air. And I think Ray had something he wanted to tell us about. And I think that sounds like we'll fill an hour pretty nicely on that. Anybody dying to say anything right now?
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Come on, Bill.
Good morning.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna start with Kai, who's gonna do us a little slideshow on his musical Christmas tops, I think. Is that right, Kai?
Yeah, it's whistling tops. They don't have to do with Christmas. It's just a toy.
Well, we've been sneaking up on this for a couple of weeks and been missing it for one reason or another. So we're going to do it now. So you're on, Kai. I'm going to put the spotlight on you.
Yeah, I'll share the screen. Okay, let's try. Right. Okay, can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's about whistling tops, or sometimes they are called humming tops as well. And these are toys that have been around for quite a long time. Here are some historical ones that I found in a book, The Art of Spinning Tops. And it's interesting to look at them if you want to make them yourself, because they have got some interesting design points that you can copy. For example, they are all hollow forms with a lid on it and a stem that has got a hole. This hole is for putting a string through it, and then you wind the string around the stem while you hold it with a grip like this, and then you pull the string to get a high speed. So that these are 2 points, hollow forms. You need a high speed that's can only be achieved by starting them with a string, and also they need some kind of sound opening. It can be a hole just like this, round, or some have rectangular holes like this one, and they come in different shapes. There are flat ones and round ones. So that's kind of a basic for the design. Here are 2 nice examples from England, dated this one between 1835 and 1845, and the other one between 1795 and 1815. And I find it amazing that toys survive the centuries. Nowadays you get cheap Chinese spinning tops that have LED lights and make sound. And once the battery is empty, they are just thrown away and no one wants them anymore. So it's nice as a turner to be able to make something that lasts for a long time, hopefully. Yeah, this is another traditional spinning top from Indonesia. The one I've got here is not an old one. It's a new version of an old one that is sold to tourists in Indonesia, but I wasn't even in Indonesia. This one I bought on eBay for around 10 euros. And it's got another kind of opening, kind of a rectangular one with a lip here, like a flute, where the sound is produced. So the air streaming in this direction, hitting the sharp corner here, produces the sound. So that is something else for design to keep in mind, that it's good to have a sharp corner lip for the sound. So,
Kai, you mean you want to have that go in and on diagonal and be a sharp lip on in the direction of rotation, or counter to it?
Counter the direction of a rotation. So the direction of rotation is in this direction. and so the air moves in this direction and goes into the hollow form. You could file or have a sharp corner on both sides. So this one isn't sharp here. I think that's just for ease of making them, but you could have a sharp lip on the other side as well, and then they will produce sound in both directions. But if the lip is only on one side, you only get the sound when it rotates into this into the right direction.
Hi, question.
Yes.
It looks like to me the cylindrical surface is true on that part, and the relief is on the inside. Is that correct? Where they sharpen the edge, that's on the inside, not on the outside.
Yeah, it's on the inside. Yeah, it goes into the hollow form. You're right. Yeah. Okay. So
is that critical to the function?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want the air to move along here. You can see my cursor, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want the air to move along here, then hit this lip, like with a flute or a whistle that you blow. There you also have this sharp kind of corner that the air needs to hit to produce the sound.
Is there another opening then? Or just
sorry?
Is there only one opening, or is there another opening in the?
You can have several openings. With this one, there's only one with this type, but I've got another one I'll show you later on that has got 2 openings. So more than one opening is possible. Okay, so that was my first spinning top I played around with, or whistling top I played around with, and it didn't produce any sound. So it was quite frustrating. I enlarged the hole, made it bigger and bigger, and still there was no sound. Later on, I found out the bigger the hole, the higher the RPM you need to make it produce a sound. So I made the hole smaller again by putting some sticky tape on it. And that's when I also found out that the sound is produced on this kind of part here of the sticky tape and not on the wooden side. And maybe I spun the top into the wrong direction at the beginning all the time, so it could never produce sound. But no, I know that it will only produce the sound, as we discussed, in one direction, when the air goes in this direction and the top turns in the other direction. Okay, so let's listen to this one. After putting the tape on it and spinning it into the right direction, it started producing sound. Okay. Oh, sorry, go back. With these small tops, you get them to a high speed very quickly, but then they don't have a lot of momentum because the mass is quite low, and then the speed or the top slows down, the speed goes down, and the sound dies away quickly. So, and that is another model. Is there a question? No. Okay. That's another model by David Reed Smith. There are actually instructions on the internet that tell you exactly how to make this kind of top. And if you follow them step by step, and it's step-by-step instructions, then it will produce sound. So that is nice to have something to kind of follow and to rely on. And that gives you a working or a sound producing whistling top right from the start. It looks a bit similar to this historical one here that I showed earlier on. This one has got decoration on it, which this one hasn't. And there's also a rectangular hole here and a round hole with this one, but it still works. By the way, you asked about more than one hole. This one actually has got 2 holes, one on this side and one opposite it. And the only design change I made is in David Reed Smith's design, the hole has got straight walls just drilled into the wood, and I filed away at this side here to produce this sharp lip or corner edge here, so that I can produce a sound here, or it can produce a sound here. And I did the same with the other hole as well, considering the direction of rotation. So let's listen to this one. Okay, so that works really nice. And
are they really that loud?
Sorry?
Are they really that loud?
Yes, yes, they are quite loud. Maybe the camera mic, and depending on the setting of your computer volume, it might sound a bit louder than they are, but you can hear them. I've got one later on. I've got two more to show you, and one of them doesn't produce that much sound, but that is quite loud. Yeah.
Kai, what kind of surface are you using?
That's just an MDF board that I turned on the lathe so that I get a kind of a slight hollow here, and then I dyed it black and put some varnish on top.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it's about, how big is it? 24 by 24 inches. So turning it on the lathe was quite an adventure. It sounded like a propeller airplane, something like that.
Kai?
Yeah.
I had read somewhere that round one where you where you put the hole in it to make it easier. I had read the guy starts with a square block, drills a hole from top to bottom on the side, then he turns it.
Okay.
Which gives you the sharp angle with the drill bit that you want.
Okay, I guess you can do that. I just took a half round file and filed the round hole to a sharp corner. But you could drill the hole at an angle, of course. Yeah, why not?
If you use a square block and you started with a square block and you drill straight down with your drill bit, you're going to get a perfectly sharp edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. That should work. Yeah, sounds good. So that's another one I made, the biggest wooden one so far. It's about 4 inches in height and about 3 inches in diameter. And it's got this rectangular hole with one sharp edge. So let's listen to that one. Okay, so that's the one which is working best so far. It's quite loud and it runs very steadily, so it doesn't kind of wobble a lot or so. And the funny thing is, the sound is produced at a certain speed. So at the beginning, you don't hear much of a noise, but then when it slows down a little bit, you get some kind of resonance inside the top, and then the noise grows louder.
So are you saying that the larger volume of the top produces a deeper pitch?
Maybe. I don't know exactly how all these things fit together. Speed, volume, size of the opening, but it might be that the bigger volume produces a lower pitch, yeah.
That's correct. The larger the volume of the sound chamber, the deeper the pitch of the whistle.
So it's not the size of the opening, it's the size of the interior.
Actually, it's a combination of both.
Okay.
Hi, how
And
thick
according-
are
Sorry,
the
David?
walls of this top?
They are very thin, about 2-3 millimeters.
Okay, thank
That's about
Yeah, I
an
speak
eighth
with
of an
fingers,
inch or something like that.
Of an inch.
Thanks.
Yeah, 1/8.
Yeah. The thing is, if you leave too much mass in the bottom and the walls too thick, it will be too heavy, and then you cannot reach the high speed that you want to achieve for producing a sound. So I come to that in a minute, or do I? I have to look. Yeah, so then one morning my wife had left a wine glass on the dining room table, and I was reading the newspaper and looking at this glass and thought, well, that might make a nice whistling top. So I drilled a hole into it and made these wooden parts. What I didn't take into account that these wine glasses look round, but they are not actually round. So it's more kind of oval here where the transition to the stem is, or was, the stem I cut off. Yeah, so it doesn't run that steadily or nice as the wooden ones. And that's how I drilled the hole. Used a kind of a crown drill, I think they are called, with diamond coated, and made a little thing to hold the glass because I didn't want to have my fingers there while drilling. And then I made the hole into it. The problem is you get some chipping when the drill goes through the inner surface of the hole, or the inside of the wine glass, because then the glass is really thin and you have some pressure downwards, and then it might chip, like with wood as well. So
how did you cut the stem off?
I've got one of these Proxon mini grinders, mini angle grinders, and I just cut a little curve around, all the way around the stem, and then I tapped it with a screwdriver and it broke off where the curve was. I think you could use a glass cutter as well.
You could.
How did you explain the missing wine glass to your wife?
Oh, we've got several of them and she hasn't realized yet. Okay, with this one, the sound wasn't that loud, or isn't that loud, and the running noise on my surface was too loud and covered the sound. So I used a frisbee here that is softer, with material is softer, and put another thing as kind of sound insulation under it, and then you can hear it. And in the end, you have to catch it, otherwise it might break.
Well, that sounds like there's a resonant component in the sound from the fact that it's glass, that the glass is taking up a bit of a vibration as well.
Yeah, might be. Yeah, concerning the weight, this one is around 114 grams, and the big wooden one that produced the nice sound is about 80 grams. So I think it's still too heavy to get it to a high speed, because when I use my compressed air and blow over the hole, I get a very loud noise, like a whistle. But this doesn't happen when I turn it with the string. So maybe a second hole will be interesting. And if I can get hold of another wine glass, I'll try one with 2 holes and see whether that produces more sound. Yeah, so that was number 4. And then you need some kind of starter. That's the one I used with the first top. I started off with rectangular material, or square material actually, drilled a hole in here and used a router to make this hole to get some room for the string. The easier way to do it is the historical one, I guess. They drilled one hole here and another hole back here, and then they used a saw to band saw or hand saw to cut in here, and then you get the room for winding up your string as well without having to use a router. And with the others, I use this one. That's another option here. Okay, and that's the link to David Reed Smith's whistling top. John took a screenshot, I guess?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so you can use that. Right, thanks for your attention.
That was great, Kai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kai.
Yeah.
Hey, Kai, I've got one question if you've got a moment.
Yes.
How many, I came in just a little bit late. Did you go over how you made those wooden tops? Like how many parts, the round one that you made, how many parts are there?
Yeah, maybe I can go back and just go
Well, I don't
back.
want to waste everybody's time. It just seems if it's,
I try to do it quickly. I have step-by-step photos how I made it, but that will take too long now, I guess. So
Yeah.
let's have a look at this
well,
one.
is that 3 parts right there?
Yeah, it's 3 parts. It's the body here, the lid here, and the stem. You could make it in 2 parts, but I didn't want to waste too much of my cherry wood. So I made the stem and the lid from 2 parts. I mean, you could make that from 1 part. The lid
And that
the
hole,
stem.
and the hole in the top there, is that to put the string in to start it before you wrap the string around?
Yeah, you put your wooden starter that I showed in the end over it. Then you put the string through the starter and through this little hole, and then you turn the top, and you make sure that the string is wound very tightly. That's it. Yeah, tightly, and then you pull it, and you get the high speed you want.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Any more questions about Kai's tops? I quite love those.
Really great, Kai. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Very
I
good.
wonder if you
Yep.
could combine a top and a birdhouse.
Whistling birds, yeah.
Randy, I don't see why you couldn't, actually. You could have the top inside the birdhouse.
Well, you could have 2 birds sitting outside the birdhouse. That would balance it again.
Yeah. Well, very good. Let me see. I've got a few short things people wanted to do. Let's do those. Ray, you had something you wanted to say? You're muted, buddy.
I'll go next. If I know it's coming, then I can be ready.
Okay. Let's see, who else? Randy, you had something you wanted to talk about. Unmute.
I think you still have.
Last week, this past weekend was our woodcraft turn for the troops. And we went in, me and Tim Starlipper and a couple other people showed up. We helped about 31 people actually make their first turning, which was a pen like similar to this one. And so I made about 5 and helped about maybe 10 people make their first turning. So I did get 20 blanks and also 20 pens, and I'm starting to make them. I have them all turned, tubes in them, and I just this morning finished sanding the ends and truing them up. And this is the first one I made. So I have 19 more to go.
Very nice.
John,
Nice,
I
Fred.
have Kai spotlighted.
Oh, I probably have to take the spotlight off him. I'm sorry. There you go.
Yeah.
You should be back to gallery view, everybody.
Right. So I don't think anybody saw the pens that Randy was
Okay, hold
trying.
the pen up, Randy. We're just gonna, just a quickie. I'm gonna spotlight you. Hold the pen up.
Okay. This is the pen that I keep going the wrong way.
Yeah, hold it still. That's good.
And this is the first one I made. I have 19 more to go.
Nice.
Very nice. Okay, I've removed the spotlight. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Ray, you up?
Yep. Let me
Okay,
get
then we go
my-
to Doug after you, and Doug's going to show Judy Stone's pictures, and Judy's going to talk to them. Okay, go for it, Ray.
Give me a spotlight. We've been doing with all the videos, and I was doing some videos of my own in the shop. I was having a problem when you do handheld. Everybody's doing like the smartphone videos, and I showed way back in the beginning when we started this that I used a gimbal. I used a gimbal like this with the phone, but the problem is when you get distance. So I checked with somebody that does videography, and they said, well, get a monopod. So I added this on, if you haven't used one. But with a gimbal, I can take this and reach out, and I can get that about 6 feet away, like that. Reach across and take a picture. So
Okay, very good.
I can reach across a piece of equipment, or just stay pretty. I can stay 3-4 feet away, and just wanted to show that. That was like $20-some, I think. So
That's
you guys
very-
doing video stuff with a gimbal and that, I can really get some spectacular shots. Thank you.
I like that. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Okay,
Not now. He can leave a message.
Doug, are you going to show Judy's pictures?
Yeah.
I have them here if you wanted to see the real object. I thought the pictures were
Yeah,
probably
we'll do the
better.
pictures, and then you can go to any objects that bring up questions, I think is the way to
And,
play this. There.
everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead, Judy.
hi. So just, I'm pretty new to turning, but there are a couple of pieces that have come out really well, particularly recently before we had to close down to COVID. This one, I just love the grain and the curly maple.
Beautiful
Okay.
Chicago.
How big is that, Judy?
It's not very big. It's 4 inches maybe across.
Oh. And the thickness of the walls, is that because you wanted thick walls or because you couldn't turn them thinner? Which is it?
I couldn't turn it thinner. I was too chicken.
Do you like it, the heft of it? I often like things that have a lot of heft.
I actually do on this piece. I think that it worked out pretty well, and there's something to be said for quitting while you're ahead. So I'm happy with this piece. I normally like thinner walls, but with the grain, it was just stunning.
What's your finish, Judy?
It's Mylands.
Mylands being a wiping, a rubbing shellac on the lens
Yes.
shellac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I made a series of these plates with Mark laid it up for me, which was really wonderful of him, and cut those angles because that's beyond my capability. But I made a bunch of these as wedding presents for friends.
What are the woods, Judy?
There's walnut, cherry from our property, maple, in some cases curly maple, and rosewood, mahogany. This, you can probably see the grain at the bottom. So what I was trying to do is, I love Jennifer Shirley's work, and took a course with her a couple of years ago, making small objects. And she has multi-leveled wish pots, wish bowls, that as she calls them, and does a lot of wooden embellishment around the side. And I wanted to try some of her multi-level bowls in doing that. But when I got this far, and this was with Uncle Gerald, you know, we looked at that and said, boy, that wood is just gorgeous. Don't screw it up with trying to embellish it. So I'm really pleased with it, but it's hefty and otherwise, what do you do with it, right? It's a big piece and, you know, attractive, but useless.
Well, how big is it, Judy?
10 inches or so.
Okay, and it's also thick and heavy, yeah?
Right.
What's the bottom like?
What is the bottom like?
Okay. Did everyone see that?
Yes.
Oh, and quick, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. It's been wonderful since I learned how to not have marks on the bottom. Okay, next.
You could put a good deal of good and plenties in there, but then you'd cover up the grain.
Keys or coins or dog food, it'll all work.
Right, you know, now it's just dust, dust bunnies, but still beautiful. This, again, it doesn't show as well, but this was, again, trying to learn how to do the multiple levels that Jennifer does for a lot of her work. And again, the piece, go to the next one, I think. It's very hard for me to understand how things are going to work in 3 dimensions and how to image things before I cut it. That's excruciating for me. And Mark and Gerald are invaluable in helping me figure that out. It's not so much the turning, it's the planning. Next. And the grain on that came out beautifully. So I'll just hold it up for a sec so you can see. Can you see the grain? Or
you can see it better on the slide, actually.
Okay, that's fine. But it's just beautiful, rich cherry. And I love working with the cherry from our property. And I love the smell of cherry. And I started making one of these little pots and want to make a series of them with different angles and different wood. I like cute little things. Thank you for show and tell.
Thanks, Judy.
And thanks to Gerald and Mark for all of their patience in teaching me.
Nice, Judy. Nice work.
Thanks.
Very nice. Thank you.
Nice work.
I find that it's very interesting that you know, the current trend in wood turning seems to be always toward ever thinner and lighter. And when someone comes along and makes very attractive, heavy pieces, I respond very well to them. I like the heft of them, the solidity. So I appreciate that a lot.
Especially if they're small enough to get your hands around them and cup them in your hands.
Yeah.
I'll add to that, John, that if you look at the bowls that have survived since antiquity, they all have at least a 1/4 inch wall. I've measured tons of them in antique stores over the years. And I think very thin walls are sort of doomed for failure. They're simply art. And if you want a bowl to be utilitarian, somewhere between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch wall is the place to be.
Well, I'm not going to go and get it now, but I have a piece I bought years ago from a name brand turner who I can't remember his name, but it's about this tall and it's about this big around and it's round and it has a tiny little saddle on top where I put my keys and it doesn't move. I can't bump it off the shelf. It weighs about 8 pounds. And it's minimally turned and a very satisfying piece. And when I saw it years ago, it was like, oh, this is different. Yeah.
I think Judy's example, John, is excellent insofar as you let the wood choose the thickness.
Yes.
Because that small piece where you said didn't want to go thinner, it didn't need to go thinner. You know, it just the grain and everything just accentuated the shape, the form, as did that the larger bowl, the cherry with the curl. You know. Some pieces call for thick, some pieces call for thin. Just go with what your gut feel is, as far as I'm concerned.
And go with what the wood tells you.
Right.
Absolutely.
John, John, at your next meeting, could you show us a picture of that item you just
Yeah,
described?
it's downstairs. I don't want to go fetch it now. I'm not even sure what room it's in, but I will find it for the next meeting. Yes, and I'll find
Sounds
the
like a
name of the
great
artist.
idea. Yeah.
I'll find the name of the artist too. It's a very satisfying piece.
Yeah, I think that learning to look at the wood as I'm turning it and see what the grain is telling me has been really, and ignoring what I might have planned ahead of time has been really a valuable thing to learn.
Judy, that you mentioned someone's name that you had taken lessons from. Does she have a website where we could look at maybe some of her work, or?
I think she's taken it down briefly, but I'll say her name is Jennifer Shirley. So she had a website. I don't know if it still is. She teaches out at Mark Adams.
Indiana.
She teaches. She lives out there, and she taught there. And I took the course from her at in Rockport.
I've come up with some really, you folks have come up with some great ideas for me to work on these different pieces just in today's meeting. This is really nice stuff.
Yeah.
Jennifer focuses now on small sort of Indian basket designs that she embellishes, but she has gone to making these miniatures, just a few inches tall, that because she said that they sell much better than big pieces. People will find
those layered bowl that the ones that you had there, those are really nice looking.
Yeah,
there's a lot of scope there for experimentation.
Well, one of the things, Judy, I think you highlighted is again, when I was talking about the shape, and you can plan all the shapes you want, but when you start turning, if you don't pay attention to the wood and modify the shape slightly as it goes along and modifies it to what the wood looks like, you can lose great pieces if you're just married to the shape that you put on a piece of paper. So I like the idea that, yes, plan and do what you can, and then be flexible with your plan to come in and make the ultimate piece.
Yeah.
George Nakashima felt that it was the artisan's skill to find the optimum design that a piece of wood could give you.
Yeah. What does this piece of wood want of me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I posted some pictures of her work that I took, and also pictures from Mac McCrae in Damerscata, who does all these feathers burning. And I just posted the link to my website where I've stashed them, but I'd just as soon you didn't advertise it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, that's in the chat for anybody who wants to grab it. I will not put it in the follow-up email next week.
John?
We've got about 20 minutes left, and I've got about a 20-minute video I made with Ron. Oh, Axel's waving his arm. Axel, what do you got?
Real quick, could you highlight me for a second or spotlight me?
Here you go.
Here's one of the first pieces I ever made, okay? Look at how heavy it is. If I hit you with it, you're not walking. I have no idea what the wood is, but it's one of my favorite pieces because I can put stuff in this, like you put your keys and stuff in it. Yep. It's not going to fall over. I'm not going to worry about damaging it. And it's just nothing special.
Okay, somebody's phone is going. Please stop your phone. Thank you.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Please mute yourself, whoever that is. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Maybe we'll catch you. Yes. Okay. I'm going to, unless anybody else is waving their arm frantically, I'm going to show the video we made with Ron. It's about 20 minutes, and it relates to all this because Ron is very fond of inventive things that don't quite look like they were turned and that are ingeniously constructed, as you will see in this video. Let me see if I can get this correct. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to go to the video. I'm going to start the video, and I'm going to share. You gotten it?
Yes.
Did you see Ron coffee hour video, Ron's workshop?
Yep, we do. Yep.
Where are we?
This is Woodcrest wood shop. We have about 26 members. We run it like a club, annual dues. We have a board of directors. It was 7, we just lost an old time member. Ran the club for about 15 or 20 years. 95 years old, just passed away last week. And I'm now chairman of the board of the shop. We have 6 members on the board. Right now we're in the bench room. We can do a pan around the benches. Various members are assigned to the different benches. Jim Johnson over there working on little toys that he makes. Empty benches that are not assigned yet to anybody. A lot of the guys are not in here very often, so they don't really use a bench. They use some of the work tables when they're here. All right. The chair I'm working on, one of the staff members asked me to strip the chair down and clear finish it. I've got the base pretty well done.
And this is you in the corner here.
This is my bench in here. I got some of the wood I got from the trip out to New Holland. I got for there, and I got other wood stashed underneath in boxes. Some of my exotic imported wood is in the box there, different materials.
So because you got a corner, you can cheat and overflow is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. And the cabinet holds my stuff in there. That chunk of walnut, this thing here is going to be a table leg. I'm working on a table for one of the residents over there. I'll show you the plank back in the storage area. These are some of the cherry I got from up on Barry's place there, Blossom Hill. And then this is some of the spalted maple we got over in New Holland Pike. Here's the other natural edge. The inside piece of this and the outside of this, I have boxed up to send out to North Carolina to my niece. She's giving them to her real estate customers. People buy a house, they get a bowl.
So how do you decide what to keep when you came over here as far as for your bench and work tools and stuff like that?
Well, it was a little difficult, but John helped me out in picking up a lot of stuff. I don't know if you got any of it or not, some of my wood and tools, but yeah, I had most of the power tools went through the club, yeah. And they have everything here. I mean, it's all set up. I had a full set. I was knocking down rough lumber and milling and everything in my shop, but we have it all here, so I don't need all that.
So all the hand tools then are shared then, you're saying?
I have a drill set, and I have a screwdriver set and those types of things, but clamps, I had hundreds of clamps and got rid of all of them because we got plenty of clamps here. And I'm not doing big furniture like I did before.
I can't imagine sharing my turning tools though, because
No.
sharpening and everything like that.
No, they're individual, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And the machinery, the lathe and chop saw that I brought in, that's donated to the shop.
Okay.
But the hand tools and such, they're all personal, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah. No, I got one on cash.
You're the same then, are you?
This is our machine room here, Joe. You on?
Yeah, I'm just going to rotate around and just see what we see. And then we'll walk around.
This is where I work back in here. This is the Powermatic that I brought in. Any machinery that's brought in is donated to the tools, to the shop. The hand tools and all are still personal. But this is what I'm making with this jig. The triangle jig, put that in the chuck, and then you can put a square like so, and hold it on the corner, and you end up with a piece with 3 corners. Yeah, my main bolt gouges are in here in the drawer. Here's a neat little thing that I saved from years ago for all my sanding discs, and I keep backup pad with sander right, disc right on it. I got one for every different grip, so that I don't have to change pads and so forth. I just feel.
Is that a floppy disk?
That's a yeah, the 5-inch disc. Aluminum blinds, window blinds, the 1-inch window blinds. I use that in put your sandpaper. You want to get it around a sharp edge. Put sandpaper around that. Really nice for cutting around the edges for sanding. I got turning tools in here, most of which I don't use anymore. Like the hollowing and so forth. I haven't done much of that lately. So it's my skew and other things are in there. Scrapers.
So you said these are your main tools that you use?
These are to make bolt gouges, yeah. That's what my main bolt gouges.
Are they all swept back?
Yeah, they're all self-specific. Well, yeah, all but this one. If I want to do the bottom of the bowl, I use this, what they call a conventional grind. We're going around the bottom. It's got the real sharp angle on it. We're going down across the bottom of the tool, of the bowl. But I've gotten to where I've been pretty good with the scraper. I'll go down across the bottom of that bowl, and it really eliminates a lot of the ridges and very little sanding when you get done with that. I've been doing this lately. Let's see what else. I got my buffer in here, buffing system, and this, Randy showed that the other day. This is the burning wood vaporizer that we made up there at Randy's place. This thing does work. It burns wood. The other drawer here just have miscellaneous chucks, jam chuck, sanding. I use this Harbor Freight right angle drill, 3/8-inch right angle drill. I really like it. They've lasted. Some people I've heard they burn them out pretty quick. Mine have lasted pretty well. I had one that burned out quick on me, so I bought new brushes put in. That thing's been running for ages. And well, hand tools and so forth in here. This is a little foam pad. You put a disc on it, or even a sheet of sandpaper. But I use this a lot for hand sanding, or even the bowl turning, and I use this inside or out.
Did you make it?
You know, they recommend when you're using hand sandpaper to put a backing foam pad or something behind it, and that really works. Some of the cores that I take out and corners that I cut off of blanks. I had a bowl blank, got a 13.5-inch bowl out of it. It was pretty thick, so I thought I'm going to take a slice off of there and let it sit here. Now it's cracking. But I think
it's got the pith in there.
Yeah, it does. But I think I'm going to put some butterflies across here and then turn a platter and see what I get. But I put butterflies on furniture, and I made them deep. I made my own butterflies and everything, and I made them about 1 inch deep. And I think I'll do that and then turn it and see what I get. Otherwise, I could get 2 small ones out of here, but I'm going to try to get a big one.
Go ahead.
I want to show you this. I don't know whose these are.
Redwood.
Is that redwood?
Sure looks like it to me.
Mesquite. Came from out west.
I got a piece of that at home. It's a redwood root from a redwood tree.
Okay. I'm going to make a table legs for that.
Yeah.
So one of the residents here asked me to make table legs.
So what else?
Oh, okay. This looks more like a Woodturners stash.
Yeah. There's some of that beech and elmwood. And then here we got hackberry.
The woods out back
walnut.
here, it's full of hackberry. I mean, some stuff like it's big.
Yeah, we've got some big hackberries out there.
Rough wood.
It's got that unique bark to it. It's really, but yeah, I like this. It's handy.
So put it on the tool rest. Let's see how it works.
Well, yeah, when you're sanding, set that up there wherever you want it. Slide it in. Set this down, got a small boy, raise it up. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
This is some of the holly that we saw down at Bob's place that he had cut up and was using in different pieces. I made a couple of bowls out of it. I had never seen a holly this size, so I just thought I'm going to make some white bowls next. They stayed pretty good. Sometimes you see holly has these little gray marks in them pretty much all over, but this one was pretty clear. Then we got, this is a colorwood spiral that I did. This is one of them that, as I was just about done with it, flew off the lathe and shattered into about 15 pieces. But I managed to fit it back together where even I find difficulty finding some of the chunks and joints. So it came out pretty well. There's another color wood up on top there. This one, I think I've shown it before at the club. This is a log centered this way and turned, and then turned back the other way and turned to turn the bowl and the bottom out of it. So you get a unique piece from that kind of a thing, I think. I've done these before, and I've not gotten anything as nice a form or as nice a finish on the wood. So that does seem like one that, and that's one of the early ones I did. Ones I did later were didn't come out as well. This is a piece of apple, I believe, yeah, off of an apple tree that I had taken down in the yard. Of course, when you're turning that, you got some pretty sharp wings flying around. But at AAW Symposium, I saw a piece like this that you could stand inside between the wings. It was that tall. Humongous piece of I just thought, I'm going to give it a try. You spin it real fast, and of course you're cutting more air than you're cutting wood, but it came out pretty good. That's probably a quarter or a little less than a quarter-inch thick.
Oh, that's nice.
Another hollow form with a finial. Finial's glued in. Spalted maple. Here's an odd piece here. This is a deep hollow. In other words, this half was over here, and I hollowed it down through, and then cut it down through the middle, and then basically glue the rims together. Well, when I glued it, I didn't square up. I should have sanded this cut square to the base. So as the feet were too short, it wouldn't sit sat on the bottom. So I had to add the little walnut caps on the end of it. So then I thought, what do we do with it? Well, we got this programmable remote TV remote. So that's what that's for. Guy up in Connecticut, Willow Barrel. And I was going to make a hollow form out of it. And I didn't know how to use a hollow form tool, and I didn't have a good tool. So I was using a bowl gouge. It's had a pretty good sized opening in the top. And with this bark inclusion, so I kept catching the edge and tearing it off. Ended up with an opening like so. So I basically hollowed it with a bowl gouge. But it's got the amazing grain, barrel grain in it, and crotch, and I don't know. Yeah. Here's another one that I did where I turned a shallow bowl and then split it down the center and glued the rim together, and then just glued little dowels on for feet.
Those dowels, or they go all the way through?
Yeah, they go through. Yeah, it's only an 1/8 inch 3/16 thick. So this was a walnut and maple glue up, and I turned it and then split the turning and glued the rims together. And it turns out, if you look at the end, it's almost a hexagonal shape. And so I'm gonna intentionally turn one like that, make a hexagonal shaped bowl. It's got curves here, but this side and this side is almost straight. And I figured out I can do that, where I can end up with a six-sided bowl, a hexagonal bowl when you cut it. And then the legs, you have to leave a rim around here and carve that out when you make the legs. So this one, I left openings in there, and I made the legs separate and slipped them up in. The legs were turned individually and then slipped up in and glued and then sanded on the inside. So these are some other items. Here's one that does. It's an inside-out turning made from 6 pieces. And you turn 3 pieces at a time. Do 3, turn them inside out, and do the inside and the outside. Then you do the other 3, and then you put them together, and you end up with 6, and do the final turning on it. I didn't dye the thing at the right time. Should have dyed it before I did the turning on the outside. I have some dye bleeding over on it. I learned a lot from doing it. Then it's been many years ago. I did this in 2008, and I've been wanting to do it again, and I've forgotten how to do it. So I've got to do some thinking, but I want to do some more of these. And this is the Seattle Space Needle. I had a book, and they showed how to make a Seattle Space Needle box, lidded box. And this is one that was inspired by the Southwest love pots, they call them. It's hollowed out, but it's all glued together. It doesn't come apart. But these are hollowed down into the center. And I turned most of this. You end up with a little carving in the center when you're done with it. I want to make another one. What I did to hollow the bottom, I hollowed the bottom out and then put a cap in the bottom. But I think in the next one, I'm gonna part here in the middle and hollow the top and bottom, and then put it back together with a bead in the middle to hide the joint. But I'm gonna try another one of these days.
How much time do you spend down in the shop, Ron?
I'm usually there 4 hours a day.
3 or 4 hours?
3 or 4, yeah. Most days of the week. And there's other odds and ends. The platters up on top of there. I've done quite a number of them.
Okay, very cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think I'm back to gallery view. Is that right? You all see everybody else?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like that video?
It was good, John. Nice.
Very nice.
Beautiful work.
Yeah.
Now, aside from Ron's beautiful work, did the video come through okay?
Yes.
Quality, yeah, it was fine. The sound was a little muffled, but other than that, it was just perfect.
Mhm.
Well, for the next one, we're using an external mic, which improved the sound. And for this one, we took Jim Bowman's advice, and instead of showing these at 1080, we're showing them at 540. And it's my observation that I can't hardly tell the difference, to tell you the truth. I can if I compare them side by side, but if I'm looking at that, I don't see any loss in quality. And we're not stuffing so much data down the Zoom pipe that we overload it and introduce latency and stalling around. So that was a real good lesson, Jim. I was very grateful for that.
John, I have a question for you. What shutter speed are you shooting on your camera when you're shooting video?
I'm shooting with my phone and it's doing whatever it does.
Okay, because I'm seeing a lot of videos stutter. You know, when you pan, it's like jerking across the screen. And I thought, well, if you're using a phone, then there's not much you can do. That's a Zoom problem. Yeah. So
I'm deliberately using a phone. For the ones that we're doing lately, I'm using an apparatus like ratioed, except it's not battery powered. It's just a manual weighted bracket that really stabilizes the camera a lot. The disadvantage is it doesn't allow me to tip it up or tip it down without I put my thumb on it. But I'm learning how to do that too. And I like the monopod. I think that'll be my next, I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to make one, of course. And we'll see what we get.
And the other thing, that was great. It looked good. I wouldn't do the dissolves. Dissolves just stutter.
Okay, what should I do as a transition?
Just cut.
Well, I was told the opposite when I was just cutting, that it looked all herky-jerky and I needed to do dissolves.
The problem with a dissolve, John, is that the compression that's sending the video over the net is looking for things that are the same. The sky's all blue, so it makes them one thing. When you do a dissolve, for the period of that dissolve, every pixel in that video is different to the compression's way of thing. So you are more likely to get a stutter. So everybody's mostly doing hard cuts.
And the next videos that I produce, I will do exactly that. I absolutely love the feedback I get from you guys, and sooner or later we'll be up to competent videos. We're crawling our way there.
John, just another quick one for you. If you go into the camera setting on your iPad or iPhone, and under settings, and suppose under the camera itself, you can get down to 720p HD with 30 frames per second, and you can reset the actual recording rate in your iPhone.
That's another dimension that I have not yet worked with. I'm doing all of the changes in speed and resolution in what you would call post-production. I'm using iMovie and doing it there. So that'll help too. I'll do that, and I'll incorporate more of that. I didn't mean to take the attention away from Ron, though. I'm really impressed with the variety of Ron's work and his ingenuity in trying to get shapes that are not round. And every time he gets something that isn't round, he goes for it and he makes something nice out of it. I find that very, very admirable. I really enjoy it.
Every time I see some of those demonstrations of different topics, I always try to go and make one.
Well, you're a lesson to all of us, Ron.
Some of you, I don't know if you remember seeing the triangular bowl there, the little three-pointed bowl.
Yeah.
I've designed up a jig for that. I'm gonna try to make a little instructional video and I'm gonna make a new jig, and I'll make that. Then we'll put it out.
Cool.
So people can make the jig. You need the jig in order to hold the square, the cube to make the parts.
I would look forward to that, Ron. And if you want to talk about the video making, I'll be glad to talk to you, but I don't know very much. Jim Moblin knows a lot more, but he won't talk to you about it. So, we'll have to stumble through this together.
Okay.
Ron, I have resisted any idea or suggestion of moving to a retirement home because I have to give up the shop. I must admit, of all my friends who moved one, none of them have a shop like that. I assume you moved recently to a retirement home.
3 years ago, I've been here, and no, I love it. We have a great shop there, fully equipped. I'm building that furniture for that table now, and the legs on it and so forth. I can build furniture. I built a table here, with turning and so forth. Yeah, it's well equipped.
Yeah, you had space, which was surprising me. You had like your own little shop space, which
we have over 2,000, about 2,400 feet.
Yeah. And Ron mentioned that I helped him, among others, clear out all the stuff he had in his own shop at home. And I have to say, I got a lot of stuff, and I still got a lot of the stuff. It's like I could have left it there. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah, I sold all the machinery. Most of it went to somebody in a club, but then a lot of the wood I had, even lumber and whatnot, I gave away to club members. John gets a lot of it, a couple truckloads.
Yeah. Well, we're over the hour. This is Lancaster Woodturners Thursday morning coffee hour number 32. We'll be back next week with number 33, but we will not be back Thanksgiving week. We're going to take that week off. And return the following week. We're down now to one email a week. So in the weekly email that goes out on Wednesday, you get the link and you get whatever information we're still needing to share. Some of the astute among you might have noticed that I'm in fact using the same link for the month of November, just to simplify all of the zooming and the linking and the keeping track. I realize that is a minor security risk, and for that reason, at the beginning of December, I'll make a new link, and that'll be the December link. So if you've lost the email from any week in November, it doesn't matter. You can use the link from the week before, and it'll work just fine. Anybody who's got stuff they'd like to show and tell and share, send me the pictures or send Doug the pictures, and we'll share them from here, or else we'll suffer through you learning to share them from your screen. Either way works. As Judy did today, I thought that worked pretty good. She sent the pictures over. Doug took care of getting them in order. It allows Judy to talk to her pictures without having to figure out where the next one is. And it makes for a very nice presentation. So we're inviting everyone else to do the same thing. And next week we'll be back with another video, another show and tell from somebody, and Doug will go around and bang on people who haven't yet shared. We'd like to see what you're doing. We'd like to see what you used to do if you're not doing anything. And we'd like to know what you're going to do if you're not doing anything and can't even remember what you used to do. So on that note, my friends, I'm going to call an end to coffee hour number 32 and turn the recording off, but I'll leave the screen open for any of you who would like to chat. I'm going to leave the screen because my wife just had hip surgery and I got to go and make sure she's not falling down on the floor down there someplace.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, John.
I had a team